Welcome to Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle, where we love to educate and inspire the community to live more healthily, feel more balanced and truly live a lifestyle they love. And today for our first guest, we have Pauline Rooney, a yoga for wellbeing instructor and author. And first in a series, the topic today is mental health. So Pauline, welcome.
Thanks, Linda. It's great to be here. It really is.
So Pauline, how can yoga assist people with mental health?
Oh, Linda, it's unbelievable the assistance that people can have by learning very simple techniques. Breathing is the powerhouse. It's absolutely the powerhouse. When it comes to mental health, we have so many areas. There's anxiety, there's depression, there's bipolar and on and on. And all of these illnesses, if you like, can truly be assisted with the power of our breathing. And I just love the breathing because we take it in our seasons. So we breathe for summer, autumn, winter and spring. So you see, we all have different mental feelings at these different times. Some people find that they have what's called SADS, seasonally adjusted disorder, right? You've heard of that, I'm sure. And so consequently, we breathe differently and that settles our mind and calms us. So the breath, I cannot stress enough on the power of that. And when we're talking about breath, we're not just talking about breathing. Much deeper than that. We focus on the breath coming in through the nostrils, right into the base of the lungs, and then we talk a lot about the diaphragm, how it drops down to let the breath in, pushes up to let the breath out. So that's a part of really learning that technique of the diaphragm coming in and out, focusing on which nostril is breathing best. I know this all sounds a bit interesting, but when you learn it, the power in this to steady your mind and refocus. And if you're anxious about something, your mind then starts to play games. I call it run a riot, but it does, and it thinks of things that are totally irrelevant. However, if we can come back to focus on that breath in and out through the nose and focus it going into the lungs, flowing out, focusing on each nostril in turn, all of those types of things, we settle immediately, right? And that is what is so important, to bring the focus to one point. It's when the mind shatters out, if you like, and that's going here and there and absolutely everywhere, we feel out of control. So as soon as we come to one point, the mind seems to have time to recollect. And in the yoga, so many of the professionals are using now breathing techniques, other techniques that we have in the yoga, physical techniques, and some people need the physical aspect of the yoga to really push through their body and feel what it's doing for them. But with that, of course, Linda, every posture requires breathing. So when we move our arm, we don't pop it up in the air. We choose to breathe in to lift and breathe out to put down. So when you breathe in, everything is lighter, right? So it makes the mind lighter. It's a fabulous way to get into thinking of life, mental health or not. If we can all just breathe that beautiful, deep, deep breath, we'd all have a lot calmer lives, I think. I don't think I know. And it'd be wonderful for all of us to calm down, to think one thought at a time. And we try to do too many things. We try to do this, that and the other, and somehow or other we've learned to have pride in how many things and jobs we can do at once. And that's confusing the brain, confusing our mindset. I'm a great believer in one job, one mind. And that requires one job, one mind, one breath, in and out. And that keeps us focused on that job. And if you've got mental health, you need to be able to focus on the job at hand. Otherwise, you feel you're not completing. You're not, and I'm sure you and I have both felt we've tried to do this and that and something else. We don't feel as though we've achieved everything successfully. Whereas and we probably haven't either, you know, but if we slowed that down and did one job with one breath, well, of course you're breathing in and out, but we say one breath, then you've completed that job calmly, completely, and with intent. So it's done much better. And then you go to the next one. But if you have a mental health issue, it doesn't matter across the spectrum of mental health. If we can really understand and appreciate that one breath, one job, bringing that mind back, I know I've repeated it, it's just so important. There's many techniques in breathing. There's what we call the alternate nasal breathing. There's what we call Nadi Shodhan. Then there's the Brastrika. It's the winter breath where you use your diaphragm to pump in and out. It warms and it really helps. Then there's the Kapalabhati, and that's spring and autumn. It's fabulous if you have hay fever or any of those types of things, which of course, if you suffer with those, you do have a lot of anxiety, right? It does lead to anxiety, I must say.
Pauline, then what would be a takeaway for our viewers today?
One of the best, simplest and fabulous takeaways, I believe, is using our tall man and thumb and bringing them together on both hands. And it's so good, Linda. You can have it under the desk, under the coffee table, or while you're walking up the street. You pop those tall man and thumb together and it calms you down, right? So if you're feeling a bit nervous or anything like that, pop those two together and immediately you calm down. And if you have got mental health or issues across that line, it works splendidly well because it brings you back into that one mind, one breath, one job. And even for us, you know, we all get a little anxious, we all get a little nervous. So tall man and thumb on both hands, and that's the best tip I can give you.
So well, thank you, Pauline, for today. And now we'll go to break. For more information on Pauline Rooney and Yoga for Wellbeing, then please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And after the break, we'll be back with another wonderful guest and another wonderful topic.
After the break, health and wellness expert Dr. Zara Chelik is talking about gut health.
Welcome back, and now we have Dr. Zara Chelik, an integrative health and wellness expert, and she's talking to us today about gut health. So welcome, Zara. For our viewers, how would they know when somebody's having gut health problems?
Yeah, absolutely. So I normally would recommend and encourage people to pay attention to the physical symptoms. So the symptoms are actually telling us and giving us feedback about what is happening internally in terms of gut health. So certain symptoms could be, and not exactly, but it could be such as bloating, having diarrhea, constipation, flatulence, or also, indigestion, heartburn, things like that can indicate that the gut health is not performing really well.
Okay, so what's important for our viewers to know in that instance?
It is important that we recognise there are symptoms and our physiology is giving us feedback to let us know something isn't right. So consulting with your healthcare practitioner, maybe getting a stool test done to see the root cause of your symptoms. It could be maybe a parasite, again, it could be maybe candidiasis, overgrowth in the digestive health. The symptoms are giving feedback to let the individual know something isn't quite right. So I will encourage our viewers to get in touch with their body, connect with the body, and recognize the symptoms. Maybe keep a food diary to see what serves them in terms of nutrition and what doesn't. And to, again, consult their healthcare practitioner and get a stool test done and take it from there.
What would you say happens for people when they've got those symptoms?
Well, immune system can be compromised or not functioning, at optimum level. The individual may feel phlegm in the morning, congestion in the nasal cavity, maybe puffiness under the eyes. They may find they are frequently getting colds and flus, or they have inflammation in the body, or the energy levels a little bit low, could indicate to the individual that gut health needs some attention as well.
Right, and that would include tiredness, I suppose, is that?
Well, they could be, but then tiredness could lead, come on from other things as well. So I wouldn't particularly say tiredness, but definitely foggy brain could be one of the things. If the person's feeling, foggy brain or a bit sluggish in terms of energy levels, the gut health again may play a role. Again, it's just more the physical symptoms, that food intolerance, that people think, oh yeah, I'm intolerant, I just, cut this food out. I encourage people to really get to know the root cause. That's what's really important. So we are not really depleted and the microbiome is functioning well and we're absorbing our nutrients. We're not having any deficiencies such as iron deficiency and things like that. In that regards, in that sense, it is important that people find the root cause. So nothing is actually eating our reserves and depleting us from our nutrients.
Would you suggest a particular type of nutrition for people with gut health problems?
Yeah, so again, everyone's bio-individual. I will encourage everyone to connect with the physical body and see what really serves their bi-individuality, because there is not one particular food or nutrition fits and serves everyone's needs. So it is important that we connect with what we're eating and also seeing how that food serves us. Do we get certain symptoms to let us know that it doesn't resonate with our body? And if that's the case, that may not necessarily serve that particular individual. So bi-individual diet is what I actually encourage people to get onto.
What would be the top tip be for people to bear in mind about gut health?
Yeah, so keeping an eye on your stress levels, keeping an eye on how you are eating. Are you practicing mindful eating? Are you swallowing? Are you a quick eater? They all sort of play a role when it comes to taking care of our gut health. Not to eat with emotions is definitely a good tip because we can go with our emotions and start eating, but it may not necessarily be the right thing at that time. So the body may be telling us something else. For example, somebody could be angry or upset, or stress can be a bit heightened, and they may sort of, go and suppress that with eating. And in that state, when we're eating in that stressful state, in that heightened state, the nervous system is not balanced. The parasympathetic nervous system is not active. The autonomic nervous system is in balance. So if an individual eats in that stressful state, then really they are eating at sympathetic level, nervous system being overactive in overdrive, which doesn't serve the body, which doesn't really serve the digestive health. So I will encourage people to really pay attention to their state when they're eating as well.
Do you have any particular advice for our viewers just before we go to break?
Absolutely. So connect to see what your body is telling you, and it is important that you pay attention and really respect your body, to really connect, to understand that your body is conveying a message to you and that you do respect your body's needs and you act upon those symptoms.
Thank you. And for more information on Dr. Zara and gut health, then please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. Next time, Dr. Zara will be back talking to us about how to detox your life.
Stay tuned. After the break, holistic coach Steve Hall is talking about how to turn on the most powerful part of yourself you are not aware of.
Welcome back, and we're here again with Steve Hall, our holistic coach. More of the series on living a life of value and meaning. And today the topic is how to turn on the most powerful part of yourself you're not aware of. So Steve, over to you. How do we tune into our power?
Yes, thank you, Linda. It's a great question. And I suppose the question in everyone's mind might be, what is that power you're talking about to start off with? You know, if I'm unaware of it, where has it been and what is it? What does it look like? And it's what I've learned along the journey is our mind, you know, who we are. It's consciousness, but it's also a subconscious part of ourselves, and the conscious is only like less than 20% of the power of our mind. Most of it is subconscious. So it's, if you imagine it like a captain of a ship, you know, he's the conscious part. He can see where the ship needs to go. He's aware of everything. All these senses are giving him the information. And the subconscious is all the crew underneath, you know, in the bowels of the ship, you know, they're running the motors and steering the ship and everything. And they operate on communication from the captain to know what to do. Everything the captain says, they take it as an order and they just do what they're told. And that's their job. But it's really the crew underneath that is the power of the ship that, you know, gets it all running and takes it where it wants to go. So that's the analogy of the most powerful part within us is our subconscious. But because it's subconscious, we're not aware of it. And so how do we get that to work with us instead of against us? Because a lot of us are in lives where we may feel like we're stuck. We don't have any choice in where the ship's going, for example. And it's like, well, how do we change direction? How can we change course if it's, you know, it seems to be taking us a direction we're not wanting to be in? And that's what the most powerful part of us is.
Yes, because people said, many people do feel they don't have a choice in life. So how would you say, what would you say to that? I know you said that you take charge of the ship. When they feel like they haven't got a choice, now what would you say to that?
Look, really great question, because you get stuck in life and it can seem like life and death. It's really important, but you think there's nothing you can do. The situation means I've got no choice. I'm stuck. And that's when you become a victim. You know, I'm powerless to change my life. And that's a terrible place to be in. So I really sympathise or empathise with people who have that feeling. I know what that's like. But it's one thing that I learnt through my journey is there is always a choice. And it's not the choice that was scaring me so much as the consequences of if I took a choice. I think we've really only got 3 choices in life, and we can accept something, we can change it, or we can let it go. But we might not like the outcome we're imagining out of any of those choices. So sometimes we do nothing and we think, no, we've got no choice. We've got to ride this out and wait for something to change, which is sometimes it's not going to happen until you make a choice. So that's what I'm talking about. The choice is there, and it's more about how can I learn to exercise those choices safely and take some control in the choice itself.
So the advice from that, you mentioned letting go. What is letting go? How do we do that?
Well, letting go is, you know, we've got a past and we've got a future and we've got a now that we're living in. And quite often we can get stuck in the past, in the story of the past, because once it's past, it is past. It really only exists in our mind as a bunch of neural pathways and some energy. That's all that's left over, but it's real inside our mind. And that can control, you know, what we do from here on in. So letting it go is deep breath, a little bit of mindfulness, but it's like identifying that happened to me how many years ago now? Yeah, it was bad, but it's gone now, you know. It's like breathe that in. It's not hurting me now. We have a tendency to take those situations and emotions that happen then and we apply it to everything that could happen in the future. So it's blanket across everything, and so we feel stuck. We've got those emotions, we feel them, they feel very real, but they're holding us in place. And that's a case of a memory from the past affecting our future. So it's like, let it go, acknowledge it's there, and yeah, it was hard, but you're past that now, you've learned from it. And the situation in the future is different to the situation in the past. And you're now got the experience from the past, you can use that too to take yourself more safely into the future. But it's like, let it go. Just go, that's gone. It's not serving me any longer to be controlled by that.
And no doubt there's a whole bunch of tools and tips that can be used to help that
Absolutely.
release or that letting go.
Yeah, there's some simple ones though that you can use right now, and that's our subconscious. Like, got to remember, they're the ship's crew, right? They operate on orders. So everything that our conscious, that's what I'm pointing to my brain here, that's where I think it is. Whenever it's self-critical of the stuff I do, and that was a lot in the past, you know, like I was very judgmental about myself. But my subconscious takes all that in. And so the trick to turning the ship and letting something go is having positive language. You know, especially as an Australian, I used to criticise myself in a joking way, thinking, oh, that's all right, I'm just mucking about, oh, I'm an idiot. My subconscious is going, he's an idiot. Let's connect into a reality where he is one. And it listens to us, and it takes me into more situations like that. But if I go, oh, I can see I've made a mistake there, well, I'll fail forwards. I'll learn from that, and I'll use that learning to go, I'm not an idiot, I've just learned something. Let's change the language that we're saying all the time. So I would say if you want to start, you know, turning your ship, using your subconscious, turning your power on, catch yourself how many times during a day are you consciously aware that you've been critical of yourself, and how many times have you been complimentary or compassionate to yourself. And just keep going until the second one is higher than the first one. And that's something everyone can do.
Fantastic, Steve. Thank you so much. And for more on Steve Hall and living a life of value and meaning, specifically those fears that come up for us and our relationship with them, then please go to his webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And for now, we'll say bye-bye until next week.
If you'd like to know more about our show, please like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.